Hi, and welcome to another edition of Mike Finds Things. This is the channel where I go around and I try to find cool old records and things at estate sales and often at thrift stores. And occasionally I'll pick up like a record lot or something like that off of one of the classified ad sites like Marketplace or Craigslist or OfferUp or whatnot. I do have a record lot I still need to go through, and I've been mentioning that, and I'm definitely going to start bringing some of those records, because it's going to be probably multiple videos. Also, I may start showing some of the other stuff I pick up at sales, as I don't always find a lot of records. This video is going to actually be a little bit shorter. There's some really good stuff, but it's a lot less of it. And also, I don't like to bring so much of the common stuff anymore, because I think people have seen that stuff over and over before. But what I will say is we got some good stuff this week. I'm here in the Pasadena area. I also do another channel called Mike Frankovich, which was my name, which is me going to car shows, and that takes precedence over this. So if I have car shows on a Saturday or something, I have to go do that. I cannot go to estate sales. And this week, all the good sales were on a Saturday, but fortunately I didn't have fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you're looking at it, I didn't have a car show to film on a Saturday this week, which was really rare, which would have been nice if there was a lot of good sales. So we're going to dive right into this. And also I give a lot of tips for finding records at estate sales and going to estate sales in general. And I may start actually going back, which was the original idea of this channel, and showing some of the other stuff I pick up at sales, because I do definitely find some really cool stuff. I found a really cool dairy sign recently that almost caught my house on fire last night. So there's definitely a story there. Fortunately, it did not, and I'm going to be able to I'm going to replace the fluorescence with LED. Because, yeah, those old ballasts are kind of scary on those signs. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a story in that one. So a lot of times when I tell a story going to these sales, it's all, also tips and tricks can be found in there. I went to a sale right by me. Did say they have records. This is on Saturday. I don't think there was anything on Friday, if I remember right. No, Friday I went and helped my mother out, because that's what you do. And my mother, she had some medical issues. I had to take her around, run some errands, and go to lunch with her on Friday. So I didn't hit any sales on Friday. Saturday I had no car shows, and I did go to some sales. There was one by my house. They had a bunch of like early 80s records, but not the kind of stuff I'm really into. So I didn't buy anything, and it was like 5 minutes from my house. Ran to pretty much some of the record guys that I know locally there. There was another sale, which I didn't even realize, because it's this lady that does not post on estatesales.net. You have to get on her mailing list. Occasionally she'll post her sales on Craigslist, and her sale actually said, we have DVDs, CDs, and VHS. It did not say they had records, but it was close enough to my house. I said, I'll take a chance. They definitely had records. They had LPs that were terrible. The 78s I was able to look at weren't very good. Weren't anything really particularly interesting, especially to viewers of this channel. There was another guy who was like an older gentleman I've never seen before. I don't think he's a record guy. And he starts looking up, he's going through 78 books. I think he was looking up prices, but I think he was looking at eBay asking prices, which are way out of line, as we know. And I think maybe he found a gold mine. He thought he found a gold mine or something. So I know I looked over there, and I saw one of the books was all Black Label capitals, which are usually like Nat King Cole or something like that. And then he had like another one that was all like, Victrola brand, gramophone records. I didn't see what they were, but like I said, I've never seen this guy. The site, or the sale didn't even say they had records, so none of the record guys went. So I don't think he was even a record guy. But I did find some 45s at this sale, so we're going to go into that. So that's kind of like the long story. So like I said, sometimes I always say that some of the best records I find are at sales that don't say they have records. You have to kind of figure out if these are the kinds of people that would have records. Now this sale in particular, this family built this house in the 1920s, and they lived in it since. Same family, original family of the home since the 1920s, in the nicer part of Pasadena, like I said, by the Rose Bowl, on Linda Vista. And they definitely, they had like some really nice antiques and stuff. But they also had some good 45s. So we're going to start right now. Here's a weird one, almost a mystery record. I love mystery records because sometimes you can't find really much information on it. Nobody on Discogs will admit to owning this record, so it's a 00 halves and looking for. 1955 novelty pop record. And one guy on Discogs is asking 12. So one guy does have one, but didn't actually admit to owning it on Discogs. He has it for sale for 12. It's sort of a novelty record on Jubilee, which is weird because Jubilee stuff, usually is pretty well known. Lara Manning, and this is the name of the song. This is how it's I Don't Think, Theenk, that you lurve me, Lawrv me. I'll hold it up there so maybe you can see it better. And she's definitely singing in a fake French accent on this one, because on the B-side she is not singing in a fake French accent. The B-side is more like a generic like pop vocal of that era. Nothing spectacular. This one's kind of like she's goofing around. I'm not sure which one's supposed to be the A side. This one's 390. This one's I think on there it said this was the A side, but this is definitely the more interesting side because she's singing in a really bad fake accent. There literally is nothing about this record online. There's like when you Google the record, there's nothing other than the Discogs page for it, and one guy asking $12 for one. So kind of weird. I actually had to like go through the catalog number and go through the record that was before it and after it on the Jubilee catalog to figure out it was from 55. But Jubilee put out a wide range of stuff, a lot of like rock and roll doo-wop and stuff as well, which I think we have a Jubilee doo-wop coming up. I think we have a couple. Here's one. We know the artist, we know the label. 53 is this one. This one has a low of 275, mid of 4, high of 15 on Discogs. Billy Ward and the Dominoes, Don't Thank Me on this side. And the one that's been done by just about everybody, Rags for Riches, on the other side. So we know Billy Ward and the Dominoes. I like to pick these up when they're minty like this. That one's really clean. Here's another interesting. Here's a doo-wop, not a particularly great doo-wop, which is probably the only one I could find. This is a promo version. The non-promo says sold on Discogs for $5. Like one copy is sold for $5. RCA Victor on a promo that actually nobody wrote on the label or drew X's on, which is kind of amazing. The Five Cats, that doesn't sound like a doo-wop group. I don't know what does. I was so wrong. In fact, they had there's going to be more white label promos coming up in this video. So they might have been connected to the record industry or radio station somehow. Someone's Gonna Cry is the other side on that. Sort of like a white doo-wop record. I did find it was from 55. Here's another interesting one. Not a high. I couldn't find any sold comps on this particular one. There's other EPs that are similar to it. From 51. I've seen 2 copies on eBay. One guy's asking 13, the other guy's asking 15. But this thing was so minty and so interesting, I had to grab it. It is the Roy Rogers, The Masked Marauder with Television Ambush EP on RCA Victor, 7-inch EP. And I like the artwork on this one. It's Roy Rogers, so it's definitely fun. That's got a little bit of water damage there, but come on, it's from 1951. And the record, keep in mind, this is probably something a kid would own. The record is crisp. So, I don't mind picking that one up. Like I said, if anything, it's a cool display piece. But like I said, I haven't found any sold comps on that. I did find, like I said, one asking for 13, one asking for 15, plus shipping and tax and all that stuff. You always got to figure that stuff, too, when you're buying online. Another one on King, and this one actually has the original King. Some of these actually have the original sleeves. There's a couple more Kings coming up. 54. My notes are it's not worth much because I think I saw a couple of more people were asking like hardly anything for it. It's a rock and roll, kind of like a teeny bopper. Now this record is from 54. Rock and roll teeny bopper. One website I found which didn't look really that trustworthy, said that the guy was born in 1906, which means this guy's recording a rock and roll record in his 50s. So that's kind of interesting. On King, it's the Ray Allen Trio with Love My Love. So it said, one site said he was born in 1906, died I think in 1999. So he had a long life if that's the case. And Why Should I Love You? On King. I said anything where I saw, and I said this one does have the original King sleeve. King King sleeves seem to hold up pretty well. We've got quite a few of them King records with original sleeves. I know there's like certain companies, I think like the Capitol ones used to disintegrate. There's a lot of different companies where they would just literally disintegrate over the years. What's weird is like the Tops ones. If you ever find those Tops Sound Like records, their sleeves were made out of like this indestructible paper, like apparently, because those actually hold up, which is weird because they were like cheap records, but the sleeves were pretty solid. 1954, I don't have a value on this one either. It's a promo copy on King, jazzy swing record from 54. Go Darling Go, the Billy Dale Quartet. It says DJ Special across the top there. Another one I didn't find much on, and It's a Trifle Too Late. It's the other side on that one. So probably something like I said, these are probably ones I will never come across again. Like I said, a lot of times, like people that work for radio stations or or record companies would get these things and they would just give to their friends or take them home for the kid if it was something that didn't do well. It's a free record. Here's one that has the original sleeve. I got a couple notes on this one. This is an OK. 1955. It's a promo. Low of 7, mid of 8, high of 10. The non-promo is low of 5, mid of 16, high of 25, 64. So I'm guessing there's probably not a lot of promos out there where people listed them on Discogs. Sometimes I like to look up, if it's a promo, I look up what the non-promo goes for. If the non-promo says it's higher, the promo's probably closer to that, since they are rare. This one's an Exotica Space Age, and whoever made the Discogs listing said it was an R&B record. It is not an R&B record. I would say Discogs, sometimes the first guy that went in there and had that record and entered everything, put the wrong genre or something like that. You see it where they don't put the B-side. You see a lot of that. This one has a ton of wants compared to the amount of likes. It has more wants than likes. Like I said, it was a Space Age Exotica on OK with the original OK sleeve, which is kind of cool. This one is the Trainiers with Devil's Mambo on a white label promo. This one's actually a lot of fun. Like I said, I have a buddy who collects Exotica. He's probably going to be after this one from me. But I like it too. So, and the other side is do-be, oh. Not do-do-do-do-da-da-da. It's not the Police. So there you go. And Devil's Mambo. Anytime you have a song called Devil's Mambo on a white label promo, you got to take it home to see what it is. It's just a rule. So, kind of a cool one to find. I'll put this one back here. A couple more 45s and we'll get into some LPs. Next one I have, I didn't really write much down on it. I don't think there was much of a value to it. It's an artist we've seen before, especially if you do Doo-Wop stuff. You've seen these guys before. You've probably own a few of their records. 1955 Doo-Wop, another one on Jubilee. This one is Green Eyes by the Ravens featuring Jimmy Ricks and the Sid Bass Orchestra. So you see the Ravens. In fact, I bought a record lot, a 78 record lot, probably a few videos ago. And there was a Ravens 78 in there. And the Bells of San Raquel. And I did have a note on here. The note must have fallen off. This is the one where I did have a note on this. The note fell off. I think this is the one where the writers of the record of the songs were reversed on the labels by accident by the record company. And then later on they did a reissue in the 60s on the more 60s looking Jubilee label. But I said one weird thing is that the writers on one side are supposed to be on the other side, and vice versa. I did have a thing written and I can't find it. Like I said, the note must have fallen off. I literally did these last night. 1955, a doo-wopper on Jubilee as well. Low of $1, mid of 450, high of 8. So not a particularly valuable doo-wopper, and really nice. Most of these are in really good shape. Boil and Bubble, the Heartbeats on Jubilee. And finally, is the other side on this one. So that was kind of I said, considering there's like several minty jubilees from 1955, said someone might have been connected to the record company or something, and then wound up with a bunch of. I've seen that before, where you see a lot of similar year from the same record company, and they were unplayed or barely played. Here's a choral promo from '55. This is more like a novelty record. It's rockabilly-ish, it's rockabilly-ish. It's kind of a fun one. Going to play around Halloween. 8, low of 8, mid of 10, high of 12. Goofy Dry Bones by the Goofers. And it's kind of like, the Neg Bones connected to the whatever, but they made a whole rockabilly-ish novelty song about it on choral. And this is it's a promo, but it's like kind of like a light blue label. And Nair is the B-side on that one. One side I think said this was the A-side. Somebody did write on this side, so I'm thinking this was the A-side. Plus this is the more fun side anyway. And it has like, they sing about the bones, and they shake the can of like nuts or whatever to make that like bone shaking noise. But it's just a fun novelty record. What year was that? 155 as well. So all these were from around 55. Here's one from 64. So we got another from 55 coming up after that. Artist from 64, not one that comes up as much as their hit or their other song that is similar to their hit that comes up a lot. It's the Champs. No, it's not Tequila. It doesn't say Tequila in the title at all. It's a surf record from 64, Only the Young. So the ones you always find are Tequila and Tequila Twist. This one's on Challenge. And Switzerland is the B-side on that one. So it's some surf music from the Champs from 64. This one sells low 2, mid of 6, high of 18 on Discogs. But nice to see a Champs, the ones you don't normally see, which one you normally see is Tequila, let's face it. And Tequila Twist. I think I see Tequila Twist locally just as much as Tequila, like when I go through these places. Maybe because people are more likely to pull Tequila if I didn't go through it yet. I don't know. Or maybe Tequila got played more and got thrown out when it wore out. I don't, that's possible too. Everybody I have Tequila in one of my jukeboxes. My kid loves to play it. It's a much later repress though. Here's one. It's a 55 Latin jazz promo. And my notes on it are, it's like an exotica flute song. So this lady played the flute. It's instrumental. It does have the original Capitol sleeve, which is not disintegrated like most of them. Flutterbug with Julie Kinsler with her orchestra. White label promo Capitol. And this one looks pretty much unplayed or barely played. It's kind of an exotica record almost. So we found a couple exotica-ish songs there. And the final 45 before we get into the couple LPs I got. I did get, there was this thing where they were giving away some stuff out of somebody's house not far from here, and I went up there. They said they had records. The only two I pulled were like Lewis and Keeley's. I didn't put them in the video, but they were like minty Lewis and Keeley, so I grabbed them. I think I grabbed a Captain and Tennille. Everything else was like terrible. And then I did get a cool Smith Corona typewriter from the 50s for free from them though, which I gave to my daughter because it's the same type of model my mother used to have, which we can't find for some reason. Here's a surf record from 63, originally done by Dick Dale. Promo, a low of 8, mid of 15, high of 26. So the surf collectors are kind of wanting this one. Guitar Ramblers with Surf Beat. So I collect Surf 45, so this is definitely going in my surf collection. And it's one of those where it's the same song on both sides. So the DJ wouldn't mess up and play the wrong song, and then that would become the hit. And then catch the record companies off guard. Which I think happened with Tequila. I think that's one of the songs that actually happened on like the record. So some DJ went, I like this song, and started playing it, and it became the hit. We had a couple of those on 78 in last week's video. We had the Rock Around the Clock, Bill Haley, and we had the Earth Angel, both on 78. Both those were really clean copies too. Okay, so here's the sale. So I go to another sale the same day, and after that, in fact, I went straight away from that one in Burbank. Decided to drive a little further. There's one sale. So they had records, so they had a lot of 45s. So I get out there, the LPs were 10 each, so I didn't even bother. I was just like, nope. And then I went, where's the 45s? I got there an hour after it opened. Some guy had come in and bought all the 45s in one fell swoop. I have no idea what was there, so I didn't buy anything at that sale. Went to another sale about 5-10 minutes from there. It was more like a privately run thing. He had his box of records that he thought were worth more, and I don't know what he wanted for them. And I looked through them, I didn't see anything I really wanted in there anyway. But the other ones were all bucks, so I bought 2 LPs and 1 LP set. That's like a 3 LP set, and I got some interesting stuff, kind of stuff you don't normally run across. Definitely caught me by surprise. 65, we got it's on the Blues Classics label out of Berkeley, California. Country Blues Classics Volume 3. This one's pretty minty. And on Discogs, this one is low of 3, mid of 13, high of 40. And they're Blues Classics. It looks almost like a bootleg record, but so if it was a bootleg record, Discogs would block it. I'm not going to pull it. The jacket it's got the old style cardboard jacket that always falls apart. But I mean, the records records like these usually didn't get played a whole lot. They were more like an enthusiast type thing. So the record's like super nice on this one. Let me see if I can get it back in there. I'll just do it later. So definitely some interesting stuff. Next one I grabbed because it's not something I normally come across, and I said for $1, why not? Let's give it a go. I didn't even look. A lot of times I don't even bother looking up the records. If they're interesting, I'll just grab them, especially if they're $1. Native American Ballads on RCA Victor Vintage Series. It says a rare collection of early folk recordings, and then it goes into the whole thing. 1967, this compilation came out. Low of 3, mid of 8, high of 13. And this one's pretty minty as well. It has a little bit of a value, just something different to listen to. I said, stuff you don't normally see on when you're going through records, let's face it. And here's one. I usually don't look at those LP record sets because, let's face it, they're usually Time Life or World's Greatest Music, or it's like the 78 sets, which we're going to do a tie-in with the 78 sets here in a minute. This is one that it just like it was on top when I started going through I went through grabbed a bunch of LPs. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to look through those record sets. And it was the top of the record sets. And I was like, huh? I didn't know this existed. Like I said, I usually don't look through record sets because they're always nothing I want. But this is definitely something I wanted. It's Lead Belly, the Library of Congress recordings, recorded by John and Alan Lomax on Elektra. And this one's kind of perplexing. It originally came with a pretty extensive booklet, apparently, with like photos and lyrics and stuff like that. It's all 3 LPs are there. The book is missing. So, unfortunately, I would assume something like this. Again, it was probably played once or twice. It wasn't played very much. And kids didn't own these, so they didn't throw stuff away. But it has all 3 records. They're all 3 are, as you would imagine, they're in really nice condition. Unfortunately, it is missing the book. It does have some value. It was originally released in 65. I didn't want to stay up trying to figure out which pressing it was. I think they would repress these every few years, and they do bring a little bit of money, and nothing crazy. I'm not sure what it would bring without the book, because I imagine most of them still have the book, because it's generally something somebody that was really into music would buy, not somebody that was just casually into music. And I will say there was another time I went through a bunch of records at a sale, and it was in a video probably a couple of years ago. And like I always say, those 78 sets, you're usually like, oh, it's another Bing Crosby, or it's another Tommy Dorsey set or something. And I have a Lead Belly Alabama Prison Songs set that's like minty, but that one actually had the liner notes, which is why I thought, I wonder if this came with liner notes, because that one did, and that was a 78 set on RCA Victor. That one's worth quite a bit of money. I'll never sell it. It's and the records are all super minty in that one, all 78 set. Definitely something I'm going to hold on to. So sometimes you do have to check those record sets, even if they're usually 101 strings or World's Greatest Music or Time Life or whatever is usually on those records. Kind of an interesting find. So definitely a tip there to keep an eye out for stuff like that on those record sets, especially if you start seeing other blues records and interesting folk, American folk song LPs and stuff like that. So this is what I got for you this week. Nothing terribly crazy. I will plan to hit some sales. There's a couple of them on Friday I'm eyeballing that look like they might have some good records. Saturday, unfortunately, I have 2 car shows I believe I'm filming on Saturday. Sunday I've got I've got something I got to film in the morning, and I believe I'm spending the rest of the day with my daughter on Sunday. So probably not going to hit any sales that day. But if I don't have enough records, I'll go through some of those records I got from that lot. And maybe I'll do a video on something else. In fact, one of my jukeboxes might be up and running that I've had for a couple of years. It might finally be functional. Maybe I'll do a video on that. We'll see. So make sure you like, subscribe, leave some comments, and until next time, I'll be seeing you.